Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Ryan.
And I'm Heather.
And today this is Confidence Through Cabaret, the podcast. And we are super excited because we get to welcome on an absolutely amazing friend to the community. She is a speaker, an activist, an author and advocate of the incredible Tears and Tulle movement. It's the wonderful Gina Bell.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello. Wow, we're so excited to have you here and for you to share your story and your message and of course your book, which I cannot wait for.
I am so excited. I'm actually writing a version about a boy in his cape right now as we speak. So there's another one coming. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to share this with you, and maybe I'll talk all about untraditional capes later too. So,
oh yes, please do. What's the name of the new book coming? Can we get it?
Oh yes, I'll give you a little a sneak peek. It's called Tears and Taffeta. So it'll be about a boy and his multicolored taffeta cape and how different it is from the capes that we see growing up.
Wow.
How it has similarities, but then how it's also a different way to look at things in life. So yeah, it should be fun.
Oh my goodness,
Wow.
This is so exciting.
How would you like to? Shall we dive into the book and then talk about it, or can we talk first, or what do you prefer?
Sure, I would love to dive into the book because it gives a little background about my movement at the end of the story. So yeah, I would love to read it and then maybe go from there.
Oh my goodness, let's do that. Okay, please take it away.
All right, awesome. Tears and Tulle, written by Gina Bell, illustrated by Elena Michelatis. It says, "For my children and my mom, thank you for the spontaneous living room dance parties that often helped me remember my magic." And then the illustrator, Elena, says, "To all the beautiful souls, may you find your rainbow and never let go." Tears and Tulle. One day, a baby girl was born wearing a skirt made of tulle. It was bright and colorful, like a rainbow jewel. The skirt was invisible, seen just by the girl. She giggled happily, watching its wild colors swirl. The skirt connected the girl to her magic, color, and dreams. When she was full of tears, the skirt sent her heart joyful beams. As the girl grew and grew, the magical skirt did too. Soon she realized that life could be messy and unfair. She needed to remember her skirt would always be there. She fluffed her skirt and jumped to her feet. She would wake up the skirt with her own special beat. Skip, dance, swish, twirl. Remember the spirit of that magical girl. Sometimes she felt scared, embarrassed, and like she didn't have a clue. So she fluffed her skirt and remembered the fun of trying something new. There were times she felt left out, misunderstood, and like she would never fit in. So she fluffed her skirt and remembered to be comfortable in her own skin. Skip, dance, swish, twirl. Remember the spirit of that magical girl. And when life was just too much and her eyes filled with tears, she fluffed her skirt and remembered she could learn from her fears. The tears made her wise and watered the dream in her heart. Fluffing her skirt, she remembered she was a growing work of art. Skip, dance, swish, twirl. Remember the spirit of that magical girl. As she grew older, her days could feel overwhelming, crazy, and long. So she fluffed her skirt and remembered she was radiant, resilient, and strong. Sometimes it felt like her life was falling apart at the seams, so she fluffed her skirt and remembered she could always connect to her dreams. Skip, dance, swish, twirl. Remember the spirit of that magical girl. She celebrated her failures and the lessons they taught her along the way. She fluffed her skirt and remembered she had something important to say. She trusted the wisdom in her heart to help others grow, learn, and heal. Fluffing her skirt, she remembered her struggles made her beautiful and real. Skip, dance, swish, twirl. Remember the spirit of that magical, of every magical girl. And then it says here, the story behind the skirt. Hi, my name's Gina Bell, and I'm the creator of the Tears and Tulle movement, a women's empowerment movement that celebrates women who show up from within the chaos of everyday life to connect with their magic. In 2018, my life changed on an abandoned overpass in Orlando, Florida. I was wearing a simple black tank and the most magical rainbow-colored tulle skirt. I had purposely paired the colorful skirt with a black t-shirt to relay a special message to myself and people everywhere. We don't need to wait for life's perfect set of circumstances to connect with our extraordinary color. My purpose with the Tears and Tulle movement is to reconnect women with their joy and color, even during life's darkest moments. It may sound strange, but the rainbow skirt woke up something wonderful in me. I want women everywhere to experience what I did, a clarifying moment of vulnerability, magic, and happiness. A year and a half after that day on the overpass, I launched Tears and Tulle. I'm sharing the rainbow skirt with 52 women over 52 weeks as a way to inspire people everywhere to reconnect with their color, the tulle, from within the darkness, the tears of real life. While organizing the movement, I learned that my friend and rainbow tulle skirt designer, Cass Youngs, had always hoped that one day one of her creations would travel the world. She loved that our two ideas would become one. Each woman in the movement is asked to pair the skirt with something black, make their unique magic in it, and share their Tears and Tulle story with the world. Time after time, participants have shared how much love and positive energy the rainbow skirt radiates. And many participants use their time with the skirt to reflect on their greatest struggles. That's what Tears and Tulle is all about, embracing our perfectly imperfect lives. The Tears and Tulle movement continues to grow and evolve in amazing ways. Oh, and you can join the movement by going to my website, is the last page there. And then there's just pictures of the skirt traveling to all these different places and the end. So there it is.
Oh my goodness. That was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to share that with you.
Oh no, honestly, thank you. That was beautiful. I love this book. It sounds absolutely, it's just wonderful, really wonderful, especially the fact that, you talk about, being vulnerable and connecting with the magic and the spirit of that, of that little girl that exists within every person who's reading it, I think that's really beautiful. Thank you.
Yes, you're so welcome. I actually wrote the book for myself as an adult woman to remember my own spirit and the color that I was born with. And then I realized, because I'm a mom of 6, that, their age is 17 to 23 now, so they're older, but that my kids, my girls and my boys, needed this story too. Yeah. And so it's funny, it's got beautiful, pictures in it, but it's definitely written for everyone right. to enjoy it and connect with it.
Oh, yeah. That's beautiful. And you talk about being on that overpass and wearing this beautiful rainbow tulle skirt. What was it that brought you to the moment of going, I need to reclaim this. This is something I need to explore for myself again?
For years, I had been an empowerment coach with different nonprofits before going out on my own around that same time of the overpass. And I woke up one morning and created something I called a black bark tree. I make these with my clients, and it's basically the roots of the tree are the colors we're born with, and the black bark up the center is our struggles. our heart is right there in the middle. And then the color at the top and the branches and the leaves is the same color from the base, those same birth colors, but it's what happens when they travel through that darkness and go out into the world with their color. So I'd been creating these trees with my family, with my clients, with everyone for years. Like if you work with me, we create these black bark trees to remember, our connection with that color. And then there I am standing on the overpass, and I thought I should pair this skirt with something, dark to represent these trees I've been creating with people. And so it's just this enormous tulle skirt that sort of gave me permission to stand in that feeling of empowerment for a minute. You can't hide in it, it's just this massive rainbow tulle, and it has all these layers. And those layers kind of represented my strength and my durability and all different aspects. I look at tulle fabric as how it can relate to our lives. And so, yeah, I was standing there, and they had a drone going above. It was just a photo shoot for my business. And they said, Gina, can you run in that thing? And I said, yeah, I think I can. And I fluffed it up and held on tight to it. And it was the week after the anniversary of my mother's passing. And I felt her like there in just her spirit sort of in the wind that day. And I just took off in my bare feet and ran down this overpass, the black tank, the color, everything mixing together. And I just I wanted other people to feel that sort of empowerment, like you just let go for a moment and you're able to show up in your color from within all the messiness with the broken washing machines or the broke down cars or the, whatever's happening in your life. It's this unexpected detour. Like that day felt like I could show up from within all that mess and still make magic. So that's where it comes from. That's how it all started.
Wow.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful.
It is beautiful. And I'm so happy to have found you. We play with tulle a lot. Most of our photography is done with purple and red and gold tulle. We talk a lot about perfectly imperfect. And the way that you capture and summarize everything in your story is just fantastic, because it is for all of us. And in fact, children might enjoy the pictures and might enjoy the story and the rhythm, but it's not until you're an adult that you really get it and then say, oh, how do I do that?
Fully.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think, we, all of us, we talk a lot about working in the mirror. And it was one of the very first things that we did in Confidence Through Cabaret was just challenging people to look in the mirror for 30 seconds to a minute. Yeah. And the pushback was amazing because it's hard.
Yeah.
And it's that connecting with yourself again, connecting with the girl inside of you or the child inside of you, and so that book just beautifully captures that. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. I'm glad to hear it.
So do you still do empowerment coaching? Is that, or have you moved from that, or what happened?
So I am still coaching. I had a replica of the rainbow skirt made so that I could wear it on stages and kind of help people to remember and to sort of wake up that, that spark inside of them. And then COVID, such a tears and tulle example is, the pandemic, happening at the time it happened. And so I am still coaching. It's just not on those bigger stages right now. So I'm trying to be patient and lean into just growing in a different way right now and making space for both the tears and the tulle. And I try to interview a lot of the women who wear the original skirt because it's still traveling. It's in Oregon right now in the US. And any workshop I do, any time that I'm speaking on stage, anytime there's any tears and tulle talk, I invite people to share their tears into a moment. And I think that that helps kind of bond people together. And I call those the even when, especially then moments of life. So I would love to invite the two of you to share one if you would be interested, if it's something that you would like to share. But it's super duper simple. You just say something that you love about yourself, and you say especially when, and this could be anything, any detour, anything that is a tears moment. And then you end it with especially then, and we all come together in that space and kind of remember that we're able to show up from within both spaces. So it's like, I am smart even when I forget my computer password, especially then. So there's like, always trying to connect people with that tears and tool. So I would love to hear your tears and tool if you'd be willing to share them with me today. If not, that's okay too.
How did you want to go first, or should I?
You can go first.
Okay. I love that I can always find beauty in music and art, even when I am my most lost.
Especially then.
Especially when I'm my most lost.
Thank you for sharing your heart.
I love that I can find the good in things and be optimistic and joyful, even when things go bad and grief sets in, and especially then.
Especially then. I share this space with you, especially then. Thank you for sharing. I know I sort of put the two of you on the spot. Do that sometimes with the tears and tool.
That was beautiful.
It's good. You when you said about the bond people of your mom's passing, my mom just passed, and it kind of made me go, oh, can't breathe. So yeah. So I think for a lot of us, COVID, certainly for Ryan and I, COVID has been a reinvention, and it's been a pivot to say, how else can we use our voice, and how else can we use our story, and how else can we uplift and inspire others? And I love that the three of us are here in that place, because that's what's happened. Do you know, that's that the three of us have kind of lost what we knew as our work, and pivoted and reinvented and found something. And I think there's real joy in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love that you've extended that even further into, giving, sending this beautiful creation out into the world so that other people can, enjoy it and find their strength within it as well. That picture at the end of the book with with that beautiful woman smiling, holding up a sword, with "I am enough" written in it, was just like work.
Yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful. Was that something that you'd always planned to do, to send that skirt out into the world?
No. I had no idea that the skirt was going to travel at all. I rolled it up, I stuffed it in the biggest suitcase I could find, and I brought it home from Orlando, Florida to Chicago. And it sat here. It sat for like 9 months. In this special little place in my house, because I didn't want anything to happen to it because it's so big. And then I had been writing a book called Tears and Tool that was not a picture book. And I realized that the story that I was writing wasn't the story that I thought should be told. I suddenly realized that the story actually involved the skirt leaving my house and going to other people's homes, and that then they shared their story and their tears and tool moments and all that good stuff. And so I asked 52 women, and almost all of them said yes. It was like just the most amazing synchronicity that they all bravely stood in that space with me and said, let's do this. So yeah, I think it's on like house 32 right now. I'd have to go back and look, but yeah, it never meant to travel. And then all of a sudden I couldn't believe it was still in my home. Like
Right.
it's supposed to be out there in the world connecting with other people. And yeah, so that's kind
I
of how
love
that works.
I love that it's colorful and it reminds us of our colors and it reminds us of joy. But I also love that it is huge, like because we've seen pictures of it, and that takes up space,
Hmm.
and that is awesome
Yeah.
because you know we need to take up our space with joy, and we need to be able to twirl, and we need to be able to ignite color and expression, and I feel like you've in a strange way, I feel like you've told the story that of us creating confidence through cabaret.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
It,
Very much so.
it's quite it's actually quite deep here. I'm like, okay, that's the story of us, but you know that's the sign that it's the right story because that's the story of so many.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes. Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with me. Um, it's amazing. The skirt was mine, and then suddenly it was everybody's. And everyone's story sort of, um, it might sound strange, but it's like the skirt absorbs the energy of whatever someone's going through. And, you know, it wasn't just all beautiful pictures. A lot of the women who wore it, they really wanted to get artistic with it. And so there's these beautiful, pictures. But, you know, a lot of them came to me and said, this was really hard for me to stand in that new feeling of power with it.
mm.
And, they swear that you could just feel the energy when you open the box, and it's like a clown car. It starts coming and it doesn't stop for like minutes, it's just, you're pulling this giant skirt out of this box. And I swear the boxes keep getting smaller. Like everyone wants to see how big it can pop out when it comes. So the box started as this huge box, and now it's this tiny little like shoe box, and it just, it comes out. But yeah, they talk about how hard it was and how emotional it was. And so I really respect that space, to show up and make room for that and the beauty of it,
Yeah.
so
what happens when it's done its 52 weeks? What happens to the skirt?
Yeah.
so it'll go 52 weeks, and then we have a season 2, which will not go once a week because I learned so much about shipping and pandemics this year. So it will go organically in its own time with some guidelines, for how long to keep it. But the designer, Cassandra Youngs, she's a friend of mine. She is going to take the original skirt then, which we decided not to. I had messaged her. I said, should I send this back to you to repair it? It's going through a lot. It's being shipped a lot. And she said, Gina, I think that skirt's supposed to do whatever it does. And I thought, oh, I'm getting goosebumps. She's so right. It's
Yeah.
going to travel, and whatever it looks like by the end is
Yeah.
what it really is.
Mhm.
So she's going to take that original skirt and she's going to build it into a season 2 skirt. So there'll be parts of the old that,
Oh,
yeah.
that's wonderful.
And I have big news. I feel like I could announce it with you guys.
Oh, please do, please do.
There's a men's movement that'll be starting in June that will be a multicolored cape, a taffeta cape, like the story I'm writing about the boy. Men from the different parts of the world will wear the cape and share their stories, and so that'll be their tears in taffeta. So I'm real excited about that too. I just thought I would share with
wonderful.
That's so wonderful.
Oh,
So
that's
wonderful.
incredible.
Yeah.
I love that you've taken this, and I love the fact that you've sort of said, it suddenly became this thing where it needed to go out into the world. And isn't that the job of all, isn't that the sign and the marker of all great works of art? When something becomes so truly beloved, then it kind of stops being one person's creation. It kind of becomes everybody's. It reflects all of that from every single person who kind of enjoys it and sees something within it. We see that with great art all the time, you know, with poetry and films and music. You know, it takes on a whole new life of its own. And the fact that you're going to incorporate it into like a secondary life with this other part of the skirt, I think is just absolutely wonderful. Just wonderful.
Oh,
Oh,
thank you.
God.
Thank
Oh.
you. Yeah.
So this is obviously taking a lot of your time, and you're promoting this and managing this and writing another book and setting up another world project. What do you like to do for you?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's always the question. I'm like, oh gosh, I have to answer this. Like I'm such a dreamer at heart. And so much of my projects, different things that I've done, I put my whole body and soul into them. And I'm learning that I absolutely need to take time to, I talk about balance in different workshops I do, but I talk about it like we're all like a Ferris wheel. Like we have this inner Ferris wheel operator that knows what speed, it's our own inner knowing, like what speed, but we're all moving at other people's Ferris wheel speeds. And so we if we slow down long enough to figure out like what speed makes sense for us, then I think we can connect in a different world and we're not holding so tight to something. So for the skirt, for example, so many unexpected tears moments happened throughout it traveling, especially with the pandemic, things just didn't work out the way I had imagined them in my mind, and sort of letting go of that and saying, okay, I need to trust that there's more happening than just what's happening in my mind. And so, I'm trying to slow down a little bit, from board games and sneaking around stealing my husband's socks during the snowy weather and like all kinds of like just trying to slow down and see like the beauty in things, like the sun coming through the window. Yes, we have repairs in the house we need to make, but look at this beautiful sun. Like I'm trying to sort of slow down. So I guess what I do lately is I'm trying, before the pandemic happened, I went to the movies by myself once a week, and I just sort of gave myself a date, and I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed being with myself, which is not always easy. We grow up and we see all this stuff in the world, and we kind of shrink down a little. And so, yeah, my movie dates are a special thing I do for myself.
That's really nice.
And
that's really nice.
And very
You're
much
seeing the human side of me, the sock stealer and the lone moviegoer.
Hey, we actually, funnily, it's so weird that you mentioned that, because literally last week we were doing a challenge within our community, the self-love challenge, self-care challenge, and self-love challenge. And part of the thing that we were talking about during that was taking yourself out on a date and going to the movies on your own, or going for dinner on your own, obviously within pandemic, blah, 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 but taking yourself out to do that stuff and reconnecting just with you, because so many people don't do that. And it's like, oh no, you're missing a whole thing. Like going to the movies by yourself can be really lovely.
It can be, once you get over, like, I feel strange being in here by my, once you get over that a couple times, it's like, no, this is really good for me. This outweighs any insecurity I have about sitting alone,
Right? Absolutely.
Yeah, but it is important that we connect with ourselves, and it is important that that we don't just connect with the amazing colors and the beautiful skirt and the flow of that. We also connect with the tears.
Yeah.
And
yes.
we work through that, and we find the joy, and we find the lessons and all the things that you just read to us. But it's so important, and we don't find that, because before the pandemic, I was amazing at doing everything.
Yeah.
And by that, I mean, I was busy, always. And that I had a lot of fun. I did a lot of stuff, but that was because I didn't want to connect with the tears and the pain.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when the pandemic hit, then you have to go, okay, hold on. If I'm really honest with you, Gina, I didn't cry. And my husband passed in 2019. And so I didn't cry the whole way through adulthood. so there was a lot of crying in 2020, but it is
Yeah.
so important
Yeah.
that we connect with that, and that we let the tears happen as well as the beautiful colors and the fun swishing and dancing.
Right. Because
Yeah.
And I do believe that there's a better connection with your tool, with your color, when you are able to express how you feel and move through that space, as painful as it can be. I think it's so incredibly important. And yeah, I hope that's what this movement is helping people to do.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And it's unlimited where it can go from here.
Yeah.
So when you have groups back together post pandemic, which one day,
Yes.
then how do you feel about going back to the other stuff?
Yeah, I'm reading so many articles and hearing so many people's experiences with the pandemic, and how the slowdown has, helped them reflect and all that. And I'm actually really thankful in a way for the pandemic, because like you're talking about, your tears, it's almost like they came and knocked at the door. Like, we know you're in there, and you're spending time alone. So we're going to come and visit for a while. So
no, mine came in through every window, door,
yes,
chimney, you name it.
mine too, for sure.
Oh, fully.
Yeah. But I asked that question because I'm asking that question of myself. I mean, hopefully our intention will be, in 2021 that things reopen permanently and that we emerge. And I'm asking that question of myself. So what happens now? What happens is this still who I am, and what does that mean? Which is why I asked you, how do you feel about it? Because we don't really know what's going to happen, but how I was, have you started processing what that's about? What that means?
A little bit, yes. I guess I have this fear of things going back to the way that they were. And I can be a very busy person. And when I said, like, put my whole self in, I have to not do that in my life. Like, put my whole self in. I can put my heart into it, that I need to remember, that there's more to it than that. So I think that I'm afraid, I'm afraid of us slipping or falling back into that old space. And then just trying to process what comes up, even just the idea of going back out into the world. And with Tears and Tulle, there's something that happens when a woman gets up and does the moves in the story, to skip, to dance, to swish, to twirl. It's sort of like, it's like this activating sort of energy. And so I'm excited about connecting with people like that again, where they're able to sort of get off their feet and move. But then I want to be real with them. I want to meet them with everything I've gone through, whatever that looks like for me, and be able to share in a vulnerable way about my experience, so that they can feel open to do the same with their skirt or their invisible skirt or whatever they're wearing when I'm out there talking. So I'm hopeful that things will evolve in a different way, but I'm also scared. It's the Tears and Tulle. Like, I'm also afraid of, how easy it would be to slip back into that super busyness.
Yeah.
And I fully appreciate your honesty with that as well, because it's, I think a lot of the time people really want everybody people expect, I think, adults to immediately know the answer to the question. And quite simply, I think, as you quite rightly say, when it comes to the pandemic, there's been some really interesting things about this. And I don't think any of us, truthfully, are ready for it to go back exactly as it was, because exactly as it was wasn't working. And, there's a lot of fake it till you make it and a lot of do all this sort of stuff. I really appreciate your candor when you sort of say, well, I don't know quite exactly how I want things to go. And I'm a little bit scared and I'm a little bit excited because, we don't know yet. And we're not fully there yet, but it's a journey and it's a process. I think, with your book as well, and with your continued movement, with the taffeta and the Tulle on both sides of those, I think it's really inspiring and beautiful that you kind of say, well, look, embracing that fear is part of this process, and embracing those tears, as much as it is, to do all the other stuff, is part of this process. I think we're often told not to embrace that stuff and not to acknowledge it, and that's not working for anybody. So it's time to do that. So I think your message is just beautiful. And again, I really appreciate your candor in this, because it's a rare thing for people to really be as honest and as open about what that means to them. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
More questions.
Oh, yes.
So I'm going to be a little bit mean here.
Okay, I put you on the spot with the tears.
So yes, so this is payback.
Yeah. She's gone.
Okay.
Bring it.
Yeah. You can't hide behind Tulle. It's too fabulous.
It's very transparent. It will see you anyway. I swear it will.
I have glittery Tulle, and I was photographing with it this morning. My dining room floor is covered in glitter. I mean, that's never
I love it.
Okay, so except for a skirt or cape, but it can be made of taffeta or tulle. But except for a skirt or cape, if you were doing a cabaret number, what prop would you want to take on stage with you?
Oh, do you ask everyone this? Yes. This is exciting and terrifying. Oh my gosh. I
mean, we can give you some examples if that helps.
Yeah, sure, you can. I had the first thing that came to mind, and it doesn't fit in at all with what you're saying. But yes, let's.
And no, go with
it. I want to know what this is. Yeah.
So when I work with people, I talk about how women, they say women wear a lot of hats. People wear a lot of hats, and I don't think we're all wearing hats. That's too easy. They just stack up on our heads. We're wearing all these different hats. I have this feeling like we're going through life wearing like several different pairs of roller skates. Like sometimes they're too fast, sometimes they're too slow, sometimes we fall on our face, sometimes we fall on our butt, the idea of roller skates, and I guess it just doesn't fit in with that idea of a number, but
it does.
Somehow
it does.
I see myself in roller skates. Like, this is real. I'm not wearing hats, I'm wearing roller skates.
Yeah.
And they're harder to pile up and put on, and which ones am I wearing, and who am I today? And like, it's all just roller skates. Like, I see myself doing this number where it's fast and it's slow and it's, like this, it just feels really natural to give that answer. I don't know.
Yes. Well,
I love that. You're crazy.
Yeah. It doesn't feel mean at all. It feels good.
Yes, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect, because I mean, cabaret can be anything. I mean, literally anything. So I love
a number of cabaret performers who do it on roller skates. So
that's where I see myself, like throwing the hat. Nope, it's the roller skates.
Yes.
All these different skates. We forget our first pair of skates, is what I tell people. We forget that first pair that connects us to our vulnerability and creativity, and we wear everybody else's skates, and we forget who we are. So yeah, skates. Skates feels right.
Oh, I love that.
And what will your stage name be?
Oh my gosh. Magic and mud. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
I all of a sudden being in the junior high play is like flooding me with emotions of being Gertie in Oklahoma, and I'm feeling like, ooh, I could just get back on a stage and like, with my roller skates and the hat throw, and I don't know. Thank you for that. I hadn't thought about Gertie in years.
That is amazing. Like, if you're doing this, I fully want to stage manage for you.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Please do this. We will produce a show immediately. We're ready.
Yes.
I'm ready.
Roller skates and Tulle. I don't know.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what is your favorite lesson that you've ever learned? Maybe not the most profound, maybe not the biggest, but what's your favorite lesson that you've ever learned?
Wow. A really good, I don't know if it's my favorite, because I feel like I would try to figure that one out and take time, and like, maybe it wouldn't even be the real answer. But what comes to mind immediately is my first ever speaking gig, where I went out and my husband took pictures of me. It was at a 40th birthday party for this woman, and her mom had me come out. I was extremely nervous. I wore all glitter head to toe, and everyone was in like jeans, and like it was at this fancy restaurant. I thought it was going to be super fancy, and anyway, I showed up in my glitter suit, and I was terrified. I was so nervous, and my husband took pictures, and I got home, and in one picture, this person was whispering and rolling her eyes, like she didn't get me, like, oh, this is silly, and it could have been anything. She could have been saying the chicken is, I don't know, not good or something. But I remember looking at those pictures, and I couldn't see any of the smiles of all the other women who were connecting with my message. All I could see was this one eye roller, and I zoomed in on her, and I kind of beat myself up about it and just didn't feel real good. And there's this Glennon Doyle quote that says, not everyone's going to get you, and those probably aren't your people, that I don't have to please everybody, that I don't have to be everybody's everything, and that there's this organic energy that sort of pulls me to people that will challenge me, but will also understand my message and want to bring that message out into the world more as well. So I think like my biggest lesson was to try and love myself, even though everyone isn't going to understand me. And that's a hard one. That's real hard.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh,
we get you.
Yeah.
And
fully.
And you are.
I feel got to in this space.
You are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Fully.
And I would still be worthwhile and have all, this amazing project, even if someone who interviews me doesn't, like that's okay too, even though it's a lot harder.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you, guys.
So I know. Shall I ask your question, or
you ask my question?
I love seeing Ryan choked up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where can we find you and your book and your wonderful work?
Oh my goodness. You can find me at ginabell.co. There is no M at the end. It's just ginabell.co. People always go to com and they find like an error message. So it's ginabell.co. You can also find me on social media, on Facebook, Instagram. If you Google Tears and Tools, so much about my work and how other people are connecting will come up in that space. So yeah. And then my website also has the book, the story. So if anyone wanted that, like a physical copy of it, you could get it there too.
Thank you.
This has been absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much, honestly, for joining us today. It's been really just very beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I have to say to the two of you, I don't know if I've ever felt so comfortable on a podcast before. So thank you for being who you are and giving me that gift this morning. Or I guess it was 10 here, but it must be much later where you are.
It's just gone morning. 5 and I'm still choking up, so we're fine.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Honestly, it's been such an honor to spend time with you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh.
So one last thing to do, Ryan.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today in this very special edition of the Confidence to Cabaret podcast. My name has been Ryan.
My name is still Heather.
I'm Gina.
And we are here to remind you that it is your body,
your world,
your stage.
Stage!
Thank you so much, everybody. Make sure you check out the Tears and Tulle movement. Oh my God. Thank you, everybody. Mwah. We love you. Speak to you soon. Goodbye.
Bye.